threat. Bars no threat. Kentucky Wildcat. Let's go. Cliffhanger action pack. That's boss said bet. Next on the function. Throw it all in punches. Bullets or punches. Breakfast and lunch. Dinner with dessert. Fat boy go berserk. Fat boy make it hurt. My fat boy will make it squirt. Plus I brought a snack. Watch me double back. 36 and zip. That boy water whip. That boy smokes crack. That boy squeeze the Mac. That boy got a stack. 50 grand back. Put it up. All these players shine. Jumping off sides. Keep the seat for your hide. That boy gonna slide. That boy with the combo. Creed and Apollo. Boondocks like Rollo. I'm sick, dog Pablo. I keep it that boy fresh. Want more, not less. I strive, not stress. Bitch, I push and press. My bars no threat. Kentucky Wildcat. Cliffhanger action pack. That's boss said bet. That boy Boulevard. That boy pull your card. That boy hit the yard. That boy turn a squad. 17-6. Locked up in that bitch. That boy never snitch. That boy never switch. Not that jump. No hip hop flow. Still a country boy, bro. That boy been on one. Plus I weigh a ton. That boy like fun. Like 8 ball. That boy Biggie Smalls. I keep it that boy fresh. Want more, not less. I strive, not stress. Bitch, I push and press. My bars no threat. Kentucky Wildcat. Cliffhanger action pack. That's boss said bet. That boy fresh.
Go back one more time.
Less. I strive, not stress. Bitch, I push and press. My bars no threat. Kentucky Wildcat. Cliffhanger action pack. That's boss said bet. Backward Boulevard.
PZG.
That boy hit the yard. That boy turn a squad. 17-6. Locked up in that bitch. That boy never snitch. That boy never switch. Not that jump. No hip hop flow. Still a country boy, bro. That boy been on one. Plus I weigh a ton. That boy like fun. Like 8 ball. That boy Biggie Smalls. I keep it that boy fresh. Want more, not less. I strive, not stress. Bitch, I push and press. My bars no threat. Kentucky Wildcat. Cliffhanger action pack. That's boss and bet.
What's up, everybody? Terrence Troy Horton, the most interesting man in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. I am here with another episode of On the 12 podcast. This is episode number 3 of season 10. I'm locking in this week. I'm by myself. The last 2 weeks I had guests, but this week I'm by myself, and I'm happy to say I've got a pretty decent lineup of topics. It's why does the R in the Republicans stand for racist now? That's what I'm going to be getting into. But before we jump into the topic, we're going to get into some other things. First and foremost, like we always do about this time, we're going to talk about the weather. We're going to talk about the weather. 15 degrees, lovely degrees right here in Dayton, Kentucky at the moment. Oh, man. And it doesn't seem like it's going to get any warmer. My wife informed me that there is going to be on the 10-day. Let's go on the hourly today. Let's go on the hourly today to see what's going on for hourly. Hourly today, it looks like we've got sunny skies, 17, 21 degrees. The sun's going to set about 5 p.m. It's going to stay about 20 degrees, and then we're going to go out to the 10-day. We're just going to do the 10-day forecast real quick. And the 10-day forecast, it looks like 39, 32 tomorrow with a chance of 40% chance. Thursday, 35, 22, 23. Friday, and then Saturday, this is where it gets sticky. Saturday and Sunday is where it gets sticky. It's supposed to be 40% chance of snow, but when you get 16 degrees right there, 20% degrees with 50% chance of snow, that's where it starts to get sticky over the weekend. So if you got any weekend travel plans, I know I've got weekend travel plans. So I've got my eye on this forecast right here. We got my eyes on this forecast right here. So that's what's happening in the weather. So act accordingly whenever you're going to be traveling this weekend out for that. Got it like I always do on the 12 podcast live Tuesday every week, going live at noon. I have a few birthday shouts out to give today. And I'm going to be fluid today, man. I'm on it. I'm back on my thing. I got back to on track. Birthday shouts out today. We got Katib Hunter. Shouts out to Katib Hunter. Talent, a.k.a. Talent. A.k.a. Dickie's son. A.k.a. He's got a very talented son as well. That he's a great dad. Kentucky Dad, I can't wait to have him on my show for Kentucky Dad. He was on a couple mixtapes I have on him for Ohio versus Kentucky mixtape, DJ Fanny Pack mixtape. So Teeb is a great dude. Happy birthday, Katib. Also on the birthday tip today, we have who else do we got? We got some more people. I know we've got some more people. Jason Abdallah. His birthday's today. Jason, a great dude. I always used to hang out. Shelly Kuntz is her birthday today. Happy birthday, Shelly. A big, big, big happy birthday. Shouts out to Pam Williams, one of my family friends from Elizabethtown, Kentucky. Chris Williams' mom. She's been a family friend of my sister's, and for as long as I can remember, Pam has been a part of my family, the Williams family, and she has a great son named Chris, who's got great grandsons. And I just can't say enough about Pam and her family and how her family is important to our family. So happy birthday, Pam, if you see this. And if you see Pam, tell her that On the 12 podcast said happy birthday. Happy birthday, Zachary Metz yesterday, and also Shannon Smith yesterday. Happy birthday. There's one more birthday shout out I want to mention. Joe Hoffaker, Joe Hoffaker is a great cartoonist. He does political cartoons. Give a shout out to him. And Jay Semak. Great happy birthday to Jay Simak. A couple housekeeping things we got going on right now. We've got the Dayton Pickle League. We've got if you join the Dayton Pickle League starting in May, we're excited to announce our monthly league. Make sure nope, we're not. I knew I was messed up. Got to get back in there. I knew it. That's why I'm on it today, baby. I'm on this today. There we go. Join Dayton Pickle League starting this May. We're excited to announce our monthly league featuring 4-person teams with only 8 teams available now at this time to gather with your friends to secure a spot. Each month you'll have a chance to switch teams, stick with your crew, play a round robin, where every team competes against each other every night with weekly playoffs and a tournament at the end of the month to crown a champion. So basically, let's get this. I'll come out of here so I can explain what the Dayton Pickleball League is going to be about. Dayton Pickleball League, you can have 4 people to a team, and then you're going to have to play round robins we got 4 courts. You're going to play round robin. Every team is going to play. Each team, you either have an opportunity to play a 4-man team or a 2-man team. You have to make a 4-man rotation or a 2-man rotation. By having 4 people, it ensures if somebody needs to be out for a certain amount of time, and it also keeps the cost down. It'd be $25 a person if we decide to do it that way. This is still in the works, so we're putting stuff out there. We just want you to get aware of get your teams together because we're only going to have 8 teams, 8 of 4 teams. I already know right now that we've already got committed 4 teams already. So we've only got room for 4 more teams, so keep that in mind. The next thing that I need to make you aware of on the 12 podcast, if it's happening in Cincinnati or Northern Kentucky area, you can find it on the 12, is the Dayton Recreation and Sports and Recreation meeting that's happening in Dayton, Kentucky. Let me get in here and give you some information about that. We're excited to announce the first interest meeting for the newly formed committees in Dayton, including the Sports and Recreation Committee. Join us on Tuesday, January the 27th from 6 to 7 at the Dayton Community Center, the old YMCA. Myself, as the chairperson of the Sports and Recreation Committee, I invite all community members who are passionate about shaping the future of sports and recreation in Dayton to come share your ideas. This is your opportunity to get involved and make your voice heard. Meeting details is going to be January 27th from 6 to 7 at Dayton Community Center. We'll also be holding a follow-up Zoom meeting on February 10th and another in-person meeting on February the 24th to continue discussing planning. This is a fantastic chance for you to engage with your community and help us build a vibrant sports culture in Dayton. Whether you're interested in adult leagues, youth programs, or simply want to explore or support our initiative, now's the time to get involved. Let's work together to create an exciting future for Dayton sports and recreation. For more information or express your interest, please contact me directly. You can contact me directly, and this is going to happen. This is a Dayton Sports and Recreation meeting. You can find out more about that on the you can go to it's in the events, and I'll be posting more about it on social media, but I just want to make you aware of those. Let's see what else we've got today before we get into the programming. I think we might be good. I think we might be ready to get into the programming. I got a couple more housekeeping things to take care of. Let me see here. A couple more housekeeping things to take care of. We'll see here. Yeah, right here. Winslow Whiskey. Winslow Whiskey is an exciting news. Exciting news for Business Cards and Bourbon networking event. The first one we had was January the 15th at Horton Social Corner for a chance to win a tasting for 2 for the Winslow Whiskey. It was a part of the door prize, so all they had to do is they had to bring their business card, and they would have been able to win. And I'll show you what they were going to be able to win right here. And we're going to talk about this right here too, but the whiskey, because I've had a lot of people ask me about my involvement in being involved in branding whiskey or being around whiskey or any of that kind of stuff by me being sober. And I'm going to address that right now, and it's going to be great because I've already got something for it. But you see Winslow Whiskey right there. We're having a series called Business Cards and Bourbon, where it's going to be where it is a marketing networking event where people get together. Last time we had content creators, resume writers, all kinds of different people were in our chat or in our in-person place. So what we had at the Winslow Whiskey, we have a tour, and we're going to be giving this in this contest right here, Winslow Whiskey, a tasting for two, paired with a nice little cigar from Factory Smokes. We've got this pairing right here for a tasting for 2. So if you're interested in this, all you have to do is if you comment Winslow Whiskey, Winslow Distillery, Winslow Distillery in the comments, you will be entered in to win this tasting for 2. And then you get to go, it's a touring, a tasting, and you get to go tour and taste the facilities down there in Covington. Let's address the alcohol and being endorsed in alcohol and being around alcohol. I am not the type of person just because here's a story. I got to tell you a story. I'll lead in parable or lead in story. I was at Emma and Cooper's wedding, my buddy Chris Quarter's daughter's wedding. Emma and Cooper Campbell. Now, that's where I was at their wedding. And we were sitting around the campfire. It was myself, Neil Atcher, Chris Quarter, a couple good old boys from Hardin County. A few of us good old boys from Hardin County. I got to get this right. And there was a couple of friends. We're sitting around and they're drinking bourbon. I think they got some old granddad out there. They got no, it wasn't Russell. It was Weller. They had some nice Wellers. I think it was some 75-year Weller out there. And they were drinking, they were sipping, and they kept passing the bottle around. And all of them knew that I didn't drink, so they kept passing the bottle all around me. They kept passing, and somebody new from the outside came in, and they were looking, and they were like, and they've seen everybody passing the bottle around. They're filling their drinks up, and everybody was talking. We were having a good time, laughing and having a good time. And then this dude asked me, he said, "Man, what's wrong, man? You don't like bourbon?" I said, "Yeah, man, I like bourbon a little bit too much." And I just left it at there. because I wasn't going to go into, oh, I'm an alcoholic and I can't be, and be Debbie Downer about the whole situation. That was a part of my alcoholism that I had to get used to, is whenever I was being around other people who were drinking and partaking in alcohol, and having to be normal and not making them feel weird about drinking. Because just because I can't handle alcohol, that doesn't mean somebody else shouldn't be able to. I am not the type of person who's going to put my addictions or my afflictions or my shortcomings on somebody else. Brief story that I'm moving right quickly along. We were out one time when I first got sober, and I was out with some buddies, and one of my buddies got a little sloppy drunk. He got a little sloppy drunk, and he's slurring his words and kind of stumbling over stuff like that. And his old lady, in a dig on him, said, "Why can't you be more like Terrace?" And I said, "You bitch." I said, "Why would you say that to him? Why would you say that to my friend? Why would you say that whenever he's a little tipsy, he's enjoying his alcohol? Just because I can't enjoy my alcohol," she said that as a dig on him. I lost that friendship. That dude don't even talk to me no more because his wife made us feel uncomfortable. So that being said, I had to work really hard on my sobriety and being able to make myself comfortable being around alcohol. And like I'll tell you this, I'm gonna support the people who support me. I'm going to support the people who support me. And I don't see nothing wrong. I wish that I was able to sip some bourbon and have a cigar. I can't do that. My DNA makeup is not like that. My grandfather had alcohol issues. My father had alcohol issues. I have alcohol issues. I can't do it. It doesn't mean somebody else shouldn't be able to enjoy that. And I like being around that atmosphere because that's just my people, man. I love that. I mean, I spent the majority of my life being around that type of element of people. People who like to enjoy alcohol, like to smoke cigarettes, like to smoke weed, and I am one of them people. I can admit it. Can you admit it? I can admit I am one of those people. I know my people. I just don't drink alcohol, but I'd much rather be around people who do that when I'm out and about. So when people try to back me in a corner about endorsing alcohol or being around alcohol as me being a recovering alcoholic, I don't care. I'm going to do me. And you do you. You find your end or whatever you got to do to pull as much as you can to get whatever you got to get within yourself. That being said, let's move right along. This programming is brought to you by AskTerraceHorton.com, and it's purely my opinion. And I'm going to be teaching today about, does the R in the Republicans stand for racist now? And I'm going to be teaching from 3 different things. And I'm going to go in here and we're going to talk about the 3 different things that I'm going to be sharing from. The first one. Interesting Man in the Commonwealth of Kentucky on the 12th podcast, episode 3 of season 10. I'll talk about, does the R in Republican stand for racist? And if you look at the graphic, I've got the rebel flag and the Make America Great flag, the Trump flag standing simultaneously with, and then I have a picture of and then on the bottom right, you have a picture of the guy who was walking around during January 6th with the rebel flag, and right on the rotunda of that's when I have lost respect for all January 6th insurrectioners when you're doing that. And then in the left-hand corner, I have The Birth of a Nation, a picture of the birth of a nation. If you've never seen that, that's a movie that was made to promote and introduce the Ku Klux Klan to the Democratic Party, and right before Reconstruction. You have to watch it, but that's symbolism in that. And in the top left corner, you see white Jesus, and everybody knows how white Jesus is been symbolization in the white Christian nationalists. And I'm doing a deep dive into the white nationalists and the racist take over the Republican Party, because the Republican Party was not built on racism. They hijack it. And if you're not a racist, this shouldn't bother you at all. But if you are a racist, hit dogs holler.
Grow up. I'm sorry. Focus on the real issues. Don't focus on what kids say in group chat. The reality is that kids do stupid things, especially young boys They tell edgy, offensive jokes. Like, that's what kids do. And I really don't want us to grow up in a country where a kid telling a stupid joke, telling a very offensive stupid joke, is cause to ruin their life. Grow up. I'm sorry. Focus on the real issues. Don't focus on what kids say in group chat. The reality is that kids do stupid things.
Okay, the first topic we're going to touch on is there was a Politico came out with a leak of the young Republicans who made racist statements. They had a thread of comments that were just blatantly racist statements. And whenever they came out with that leak, I prayed. I said, God, please don't let anybody from Kentucky and the YRs in Kentucky be leaked in being involved in this scandal. Because from my dealings with the Republican Party in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, I have not seen any blatant racism. I've seen cognitive dissonance racism where they didn't know they were being racist, and I'd have to say, hey, man, that's racist. But I'm above that. But I was just hoping that there wouldn't be any blatant racism in that thread of text messages that came from the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Shortly after, when I expressed my concern, I seen a statement that came out from the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Well, there were the list of the YRs who were on I think it was a national committee of the young Republicans, released a statement, and I seen a friend of mine or an acquaintance of mine who I knew who is big in the Republican Party and YRs, and I seen his name on it, and I was like, good, I know that Kentucky's safe. But then JD Vance came out with a statement, and he was like, pretty much condoning he was like kind of slapping on the wrist the individuals who were part of the thread. So let's see where this is harmful to the Republican Party, because these are not kids. These are future leaders of the Republican Party. And if they have that kind of rhetoric, and if that kind of rhetoric and that kind of sentiment is echoed through the young Republicans in our nation, in the future leaders of the Republican Party, it needs to be deaded out. There's no excuse for it. Where's the energy for that? The same energy that you would have for if it was immigration or something like that. I mean, racism should be the number one topic in the United States of America that we should address, especially in the Republican Party, if we are really trying to, end the Democratic Party and take the Democratic Party out for expose the Democratic Party for what they really are and who they really are. We need to fix the racism within our party. Has the racism been infiltrated through white supremacy and the white nationalist groups and the party switch that happened during the civil rights movement? That could be. But nevertheless, it needs to be fixed now. We need to find out. If you have racists around you and you call yourself a Republican and you deal in racism, even if you condone it a little bit, this is a problem. If you really truly want to help people and you really truly want to get over this whole racial thing, because blacks and whites have been working together in the United States of America since the 1800s. Since the 1800s, blacks and whites have been working together. There'd be some hierarchy in the black community. There's some things that the white community has that the black people that navigate to, and there's things in the black community that they have that the white people navigate to in the United States of America. It's been a good working relationship until the 60s. And when the 60s came, that's where things got messed up, because they were separate. There was people with plenty of money who were in segregation, just like there is now. But the racial tension that we have that's going on in the United States of America started probably about 2007, 2008, when Barack Obama got elected. We have to tell the truth there. We have to tell on both sides. We have to tell the truth. He's like, when Barack Obama got elected, for black people, we were like, oh yeah, we finally got one of ours in. We're finally going to be represented. We're finally going to be heard. And what did and on the white side of it, come on, you guys, you got to be honest. You got to be like the Republicans were like, oh, hell no. We don't want this. We don't want this, and we need to do whatever we can to fight it, which brought every backwood, ignorant, racist, white supremacist out of the woodworks to jump on Make America Great Again. And they jumped on this racist. They took something that was not meant to be racist, but they hijacked it and they took it. So if you're a part of the movement, if you're a part of the movement of MAGA and you see white supremacists tagging along with you and jumping on the coattail of white supremacy, you have to root it out, or unless it's going to cancer the whole thing up, because it has to be rooted in love for it to work. I mean, if it's going to work right, if it's going to work right. But I'm getting to the point where I'm politically homeless, to where I'm starting to believe that, you know, this thing is designed this way. Because why would JD Vance come out and try to coddle these young Republicans and say, why would we ruin their lives over some jokes like that? Why would you ruin some lives over some jokes like that? It was more than some jokes. That was more than jokes. That was like, that took it over. And these are adults. You're like, these are kids. These were adults. These guys were 24, 25. These guys have got college degrees and have graduated. And these guys are put in position. I believe one of them was a state representative. These are people who are, these are elected officials. And you don't reprimand them. You smack those guys on the wrist. That sends a bad message. I don't even know what to call it. If someone can define that for me and help me define that, then you please let me know, because it just doesn't make sense for how something that blatantly that should be reprimanded. And I'll leave that at this subject right here. When the Politico came out with the allegations or the thread of racial text messages that got leaked, and then the response from JD Vance, the Vice President JD Vance, was, well, you know, boys will be boys. Let them do, you know, like, we shouldn't want to ruin their lives over this. Yes, we need to make an example. I've always said, if you want to root out racism, you hit them where it hurts. If you find out someone's been racist and is operating in racist overtones, as far as if they have power over someone to do something. Okay, I'm not saying to do this, but I'm saying, for instance, bank loan processors or people who have the ability to give people bank loans. If they discriminate, you find out they discriminate, I think you should take their wealth. Police officers, if you find that they've discriminated and they can be held guilty in a court of law by a jury, or they plead guilty discrimination, racial discrimination against Black Americans, their wealth should be taken from them. That's my opinion. That's how bad I feel like Black Americans, I'm not talking about African Americans. I'm talking about specific Black Americans who were born in this country and have lineage back till the 1800s. We should be considered in a completely different category, just like the Indians, just like the indigenous, just like the Native Americans. That's what we are compared to. I mean, we've been here longer than some of the people who's families immigrated over here in the 1900s and the Great Migration in the 1920s. So we should be categorized in something different. So, like, if they caught discriminating against Black people and from America, there should be something special, like a different kind of charge for that. So let's get back in here to the next topic. So JD Vance, I just didn't think you should coddle that and fix it, or the R in the Republican stands for racist. Exhibit number 2. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to use Amanda Seales. I don't always agree with Amanda Seales, but she has a very good
My father was Black.
No, I'm asking, were they born in the United States?
No, because I wasn't born there.
Did they teach you about Black history in the United States?
I
Like,
learned
are your parents Black American?
Yeah, my mom is Black. My father was Black.
No, I'm asking, were they born in the United States?
Because I wasn't born there.
Oh, so you guys are all from Angola?
Yes.
Please go sit down.
Yeah.
You're not even American. You're not even a Black American. As the daughter of an immigrant, it is imperative that Black people from other places understand the disparate difference that they exist from Black people in the United States. It is not the same, period. And ultimately, the best effort that we can do as a diaspora is to lead in understanding, not in judgment. So when I am talking to somebody from Sudan, from the Congo, from Angola, I am listening to understand their experience, not to undermine it. And I refuse to allow anybody from Grenada, from Angola, from any other place to come and try to undermine the experience.
My father was black.
No, I'm asking, were they born in the United
No,
States?
because I wasn't born there.
Did they teach you about Black history in the
Okay, in that particular clip, Amanda Seales was talking to an African American. So I'm framing this up perfectly. Amanda Seales was speaking to an African American whose parents were born in Angola. Both his parents were born in Angola, and he was born in Angola. But they migrated here to the United States of America, and we call those tethers. They tether onto the Black experience of Black Americans and whose families lineaged here since the 1800s. Like my family's been here since the 1800s. We've experienced slavery. We've experienced Reconstruction. We've experienced Jim Crow. We've experienced discrimination. We've experienced the Tulsa Massacre. We've experienced all this stuff, birth of a nation. And then we have these first generation tethers coming over from Angola and Uganda and Ghana and Somalia. And they're coming over here to our country and they're claiming onto our plight. Does that make sense? How is that fair? How is that fair that someone from Africa can come over here to America and claim on and say, if you treat them different, or if they're on some scamming and you bust them for scamming, they say, oh, you're discriminating on me because I'm Black. Look at all the stuff that the Black people have been through in America. You came over here willingly. My ancestral people were here before. Who knows how long my people have been here? It's been since the 1800s when I can take my personal lineage. So I can only speak to where I can trace my great grandfather, that I came out of his nuts. I came out of Jim Washington's nutsack. He was born in 1873, 1875-ish in the census that I have. And he was married to my grandma, my great grandma, Ma Belle Washington, and she had 13 kids. My great grandmother being one of them. Then my mother, and that's just on my mom's side that I can take my ancestral back to the 1800s. My dad's side's the same way. My grandmother's father, Daddy Rob, his mom was 100% half Indian. Black man, Black African, Black man, Black American, Alabama Black cotton picker, married a Indian woman, full-blood Indian woman. That's where I get the skin, the cheekbones and the skin and all that. These are facts in my family history. Nobody I know, I can't trace my lineage back to anybody that came over here on a boat. None of it. We all here. We were here. Alabama, Mississippi, Alabama, then Kentucky, Kentucky. It's it. So whenever I hear these African come over, and I had a very different perspective because I sat down with this guy. He's a very intelligent Black man. His name is Chapo Long. If you get a chance to go see Chapo, he's a very important videographer in Northern Kentucky. He does a lot of video shoots, and me and him got a chance to sit down and talk about it because I was about to eat him up. I was going to eat him up about coming over here to Africa, from Africa, and coming and tethering into the Black experience. And first story he told me, he said, I lost my dad to war. I was like, in Africa. So I was like, okay, I want to hear more, because I said, I want to hear more. So when he got his story, how he got over here, and then whenever he got over here and he was in an affluent family, sort of like myself, grew up middle class, sort of like myself, but the same shared experience we had when he started talking about his first run-in with the police officers, when they didn't care, his side of the story, all they seen was a Black face. And when they seen that Black face, they put him in handcuffs and took him to jail. So we had some kind of commonality. So that commonality with the African Americans, I get. But then when I got to start talking to him about how my family was born here, we went through Jim Crow, slavery, and those kind of things. And he said, man, I didn't even think about that kind of stuff. And he understood where I was coming from. So we had some kind of commonality. We are not the same. So when Republicans see all Blacks as African Americans, that's a form of cognitive dissonance, racism right there. We're different. We know that the African Americans are going to vote Democrat. We know they've been propped up. They've got the Obamas, who has no lineage from America. He has an African father and a white mother. He has nothing to do with black people in America. And that's what makes me so upset about this African American versus foundational or heritage patriot Americans. So as Republicans, we should be smart enough to look at those type of things and say, okay, black people in this country, hey, Donald Trump's even said it. We built this country. We built the White House. We built the capitalism, because if it was not for free labor in the cotton gins in the South, and before the cotton gins in the South, and the free labor, which put America above all other countries in capitalism, when we were producing all the cotton, it was coming from the South, or free labor put America above capitalism. This was before the industrial industry. This is the cotton industry. Whenever that's what put us above and made us a powerhouse in the world powerhouse. Black people built that. My black people. African Americans did not build that. So when you start lumping us in together, so what we need to do as Republicans is we need to delineate our thinking from that. So if you're a white Republican, and if you encounter someone who is an African American, I would ask them a few qualifying questions, because I ask these same qualifying questions myself when I encounter new black people. Ask anybody who I meet who's black. I'm like, so where your family from? Oh, Ghana. Oh, okay. Okay. So we different in that aspect. Because we're your family's from Alabama? Oh, okay. What part? Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh, black. Okay. 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 Mississippi. Oh, okay. What part? What's okay. Okay. Louisiana. Okay. Yeah. 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 That's different than someone who comes over from Congo, Ghana, Angola. It's different. So until we can separate those two things in a Republican Party and we start lumping everything together, that's whenever we're going to keep getting things like Somalian fraud in Minnesota. Because what did the Somalian fraud in Minnesota? The first thing they did whenever, and this has been going on, this is before Scam Pond Timmy. This has been going on for, let's say 10 years, generously, 10 years. The first thing that they did is they cried discrimination and they pulled the race card. They're like, how can you say that we are breaking the law and we're scamming you guys? You're being racist against us. And they was like, and then they got to tether on to the black struggle and the civil rights and all. Their families did not get hosed down and dog sicked on them. For them to come over here and say they're African and they claim our plight and be able to steal and defraud our country out of billions of dollars and say they did it in blackface. That's what I don't understand. That's where I'm trying to, for the Republican Party, let's dial in on when we start elevating, unless you're in on it too, unless you're in on the same thing that the Democrats are, because you look at the Democrats and who they elevate. Barack Obama's. Come on. We do the same thing with the Byron Donalds. He does not come from he comes from Jamaica and Panama, and then he tried to say something about the black struggle in the United States, and then Tucker Carlson called him out on it. So we have to be careful. That's a prime example of the Republican Party. He's a prime example. We need to know the difference of who we're dealing with. I think Wesley, the Democrat, the Republican, I can't think of his name, but the Republican who went to West Point, and his family comes from all the military service. Now that's the type of Republican we need to be getting behind. Someone whose family's got skin in the game. Somebody who's not just trying to get that money. Because you look at these people's campaign coffers. When you're talking about campaign, okay, let's talk about Black Americans and their campaign coffers. Look, I'll tell you somebody who you need to watch her campaign coffers. Jasmine Crockett, she's about to go up. Look at the Somalian Minnesota fraudster. She went from nothing to $30 million in blackface, in the name of blackface. As Republicans, we have to be able to call this stuff out, and because right now it just looks like all black people are on some mess. That's why I'm not mad. I'm not mad about what I see going on as far as and unless my understanding is wrong, which I don't see it. I don't see that as being wrong, because part 2 of does the R in Republicans stand for racist is if we do not separate from African American and Black Americans who were born on this soil, who are, because people always ask me, are you pro reparations? Yes, I am pro reparations for people's whose ancestors who's born on this soil. Anybody who can't trace their ancestry back to the 1800s don't have a grandfather, great grandfather. They can't get a U.S. census and find their bloodline back to the 1800s. Then they're completely eliminated from the reparations talk. Completely. Let's get all that talk out of the way. If we're going to talk about reparations, because I think the last person who talked about it was Mitch McConnell, that I seen who has the opportunity or the power of the pen to move some stuff like that forward. Mitch McConnell said something like, and I can't wait to find that clip, because I'm going to put it right back up here on this green screen up here. Mitch McConnell said, if we're talking about reparations, we don't even know who we would pay. And I was like, exactly. We got a point, because we got too many African Americans like Barack Obama who would come over here and say they deserve reparations just because of the color of their skin. Blackface. They put it in blackface. Just because of the color of their skin. That is completely different. And we need to start teaching American history in that way. We're going to start talking about DEA and diversity and inclusion. Yeah, because it's been hijacked. That's why for the Republicans, I can see why the Republicans come in here and say, no, because it's been hijacked. It's been hijacked. Completely hijacked, man. And so there's a completely difference so as a Republican Party, I believe that we should start making sure we find out the differences between African American and born Black American. Where it started was in 1988. Jesse Jackson was running for president. And he had the Rainbow Coalition. Who started the Rainbow? Somebody started the Rainbow Coalition. Who started it? I think somebody started it. Some organization started the Rainbow Coalition. And whoever started that organization, Jesse Jackson them kind of works away. And because Jesse Jackson went to Donald Trump and said, I want you to give me a building. That's like right now me going over to Bill Butler's over at the River Center and saying, I need office space and you're going to give it to me and I'm not going to pay nothing for it. And then Bill Butler saying, all right, T, here you go. There you go. That's what Jesse Jackson did to Donald Trump. And Donald Trump said, here you go. Start your push coalition, your Rainbow Coalition. Start it. Here's business. You don't have to pay me any rent. That's what Jesse Jackson and Donald Trump's relationship was in the 80s. And y'all called Donald Trump racist. Donald Trump is not a racist. I can care what you guys say. You guys got racism all wrong. He's no more racist than I am, than you are, than anybody else who's out there. We all got our tendencies, but he ain't. If that was the case, he would never help Jesse Jackson. Let's get back to the African American thing. Then you started seeing Jesse Jackson start pushing African American, because on the census before then, if you look at the census in 1800, and then there was this guy, I can't think of his name, who's wrote all Peschner. He wrote all these laws to try to change Negro, to get the Native Americans who were dark skinned to be lumped inside of Negro, to try to get people from. This stuff is deep in white supremacy. And as a Republican Party, if white supremacy has come and hijacked our party, we need to root it out and get it out, because our party was not started on this. The Republican Party was the party of anti-slavery. We did not want anything to do, and that's why it was started. So we need to get back to that. So if there's any racist who's come and hijacked our party, we need to figure it out and get rid of it. And we need to stop writing laws that are going to move the needle further, whether they're on the Democrat side or the Republican side. As Republicans who generally come in and fix things, right? We are the people who come in and like when people like the immigrant, perfect example. When Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were in office, they let this country immigration go. They let the floodgates open. They let everybody in. You could just come in and you could do whatever you want to. It was getting out of control. The Republicans got in office. Donald Trump got in office. And then mostly that's why I feel like ICE is out of control right now, because they thought they were going to have a bigger problem with immigration. But most of the people, they said, we don't want to go to no concentration camps. We want to go back home. So they self-deported and got out of here. So now they've seen Nick Shirley. He exposed a Somalian fraud. And I was in a chat. I was in a podcast. Shouts out to my Hot Mic family. Hopefully we'll be back on soon. I know they're going to go back on Friday. I can't go back on Friday, but I'm going to be back on Hot Mic as soon as we're back on Tuesdays. I'm back on. But the last show that we were on, they were like, the Republicans are cooked, because right, that was about the time that the scandal came out with the young Republicans and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, wait a minute. You guys better take a look at this Somalian fraud stuff and Scampon Timmy. That's the first time I ever said Scampon Timmy. And they were like, oh, that's nothing. That's nothing. It is called Scampon Timmy. He's under investigation now because of a podcaster, an independent journalist that I've been telling people about. Independent journalists like myself, podcasters like myself, Candace Owens, Nick Shirley, Nick Fuentes, Corey Holcomb. We are the people who, and it might not even be me that gets the views out there like that, or another person, but we take from each other. They see what we're doing and we take from each other, and we get the news out there and we spread the word. Because whenever I started talking about is Kamala Harris really black or not, that's when Candace Owens took it and let's go. When she made fun of Janet Jackson, that's whenever things got real ugly. On the last subject of the subject, because we went through JD Vance's conversation about the young Republicans and how he condoned their behavior, which was bad. And then we'll talk about the difference between African Americans and historical Black Americans whose families were born on this soil. There's a difference. We've been working with white America and white people for a long time. We've been working hand in hand. Whites and blacks have been working hand in hand since the 1800s. We cannot let these people come in here and take us off our game. We've been working together. We've been working together for so long. We've went through so much. We built this country together. You ain't do it by yourself, and we ain't going to let nobody else come in here and take credit for it. All right, moving right along to the last subject of does the R in the Republicans stand for racist? And I think we're going to talk about which one is it. This one right here.
I'm an American, and I'm not a Black American. I'm a Louisiana American.
Why is it that Black people were better off before the Civil Rights Movement as opposed to the Civil Rights Movement?
Well, they weren't, at least insofar as anything we can measure. Educational attainment rates were much lower. High school completion, college graduation, all of that was much lower. Income was much lower. Poverty was much higher. It was not as positive a picture according to anything that we can measure.
Yes, I'm 65 years old, and I was born in 1930. And you know what? Black people was a whole lot better off. It's more of them finished school.
Yeah.
And more of them had their own business because I lived through it. And then why should I'm 65 years old and I can't read and write. How come that I get all the money I want ever since I've been here? I ain't never been discriminated against. Ain't no white man never discriminated against me. If he did, I didn't know about it. I don't need the welfare to give me nothing. I don't need no affirmative action. I'm a man. I'm not no kid. You is useless if you ain't got something to take care of. That's why I'm going to go beg a white man for a job. How come I can't hire him? I'm an American, and I'm not a Black American. I'm a Louisiana American, and I get my own business. How the white man get his business? And the white folks help me. They've been helping me ever since I've been here, and we respect each other. The worst thing ever could have happened to America was that Civil Rights March. That is the worst thing could ever happen. And you come along, and you doing more than Jim Crow hanging and everything else, people like you. And you gonna give me a welfare check? How come you don't give me how come affirmative action don't get me a business? I'm an American.
He got a great point. Why didn't affirmative action give him a business? And what he was saying is like when and my argument on is, and I ask people this all the time, and they can't push it back on me. Since the civil rights movement, and they were saying we need it's civil rights, but we're not going to give you civil rights. We're going to give you welfare. We're going to take the men out of your house by putting crack cocaine in the black community and taking the men out of the house, giving the women welfare and government assistance to get them used to having dependency on the government and saying, I don't need a man, taking the black family and breaking it completely apart. Before the civil rights movement and in the 30s, say in the 30s, the black family was together in a 75% rate. That's all we had. We had family. That's all. That's it. You could have the money. You could have all that kind of stuff. But we had family and community. And then when you got to, and you broke that up with crack cocaine, single moms, the welfare state, and then BET and putting that mental garbage in our brain. I mean, it's just been a psychological and warfare on the black brains, black American brains, and it's insane. So how do we combat that with all this propaganda out there to try to ruin? Okay, so us being black Americans and us trying to combat this racism, and because like the man in the video said, he's been black all his life and he doesn't even know how to read or write, but he gets as much money as he wants to get. He doesn't depend on to go beg a white man for a job. He can hire a white man if he so chooses to. Why did affirmative action say, I'm going to give you a welfare check? Why don't they show him how to open up his own business and say, okay, instead of at third grade teaching let's talk industrial complex system from third grade, they take the aptitude test and they know just how many jails to build from third grade aptitude tests. Why can't they take those same tests and find out if someone is a visual learner, if they're better with their hands, if they would be skills workers? We can have that same energy and effort into building into those communities. It's not even a black and white thing, but it's targeting and has targeting and done much damage to the black community since the civil rights movement. So we've got to correct it. It has to be corrected in some way. And it can't be corrected if we're not following these things, these simple steps. And I can land this 3-part plane. It can't be ever corrected if we've got young Republican leaders who are the next future in our party making racist, anti-Semitic, anti-misogynist jokes against the LGBTQ community, and these are our leaders who we're hoisting up there. And if they make the mistake, we're saying, oh, that's not really, it's just boys will be boys, they're just kids, let's just look over that. Oh, look over here, look at the Epstein files, look what about the Epstein files? What about this? When we need to say, okay, I know that there were some repercussions that went on, and I know there were some repercussions, some kind of event got canceled, I think it was. Those people, it is more of an example. And then, okay, with that effort that we were taking to build into them, let's find some black leaders. That could be at the end. Let's talk about what we're going to do to fix this thing. If we don't do that, that's number two. Number two, if we have to figure out the difference between African Americans and black Americans who were born on this soil, it's not the same. If they immigrated over here from 1 or 2 generations and they haven't even been here, because there's a lot of people who since the 90s, since they put on TV in the 90s that we need to help Africans, when they had the pictures of them with the blown out bellies and the bald head and the flies flying all around them, and it got us psychologically all messed up, like, oh, those people in Africa, they need us. Guilt, 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 guilt. If you donate 19 cents a day, you can help feed a homeless African. And then we got that in our head, so we thinking that we're better than them. All of us, come on, we did. So then when they started coming over here, and then they say in the 90s, they didn't experience Reconstruct. They didn't experience even the civil rights movement. They didn't even experience the civil rights movement. I mean, come on. And they should not get the same treatment as us. So we got to learn how to treat certain different people, because we can agree that the Indians and the Native Americans who were here on this soil deserve different treatment than They deserve to be treated better. We can just say that as Republicans, as the Republicans who was started as the anti-slavery party, we just say they deserve to be treated better. Just like the black community. Foundational black community who's got lineage here since 1800s deserve to be treated better and treated different. So number one, we need to hold the young leaders who are supposed to be leading this next party to the next level accountable for any type of racist acts, be better at vetting those people out. And if they do make a mistake, we don't slap them on the wrist. Or if that just says how JD Vance is going to handle things, and he's done it twice. This is twice, JD. Your first one was how you handled the Cincinnati brawl. And then this one, I mean, you do some good things, but these two things in the black community are like a smack in the face. And you have to have the black vote if you want to be president. You have to have it if you want to be president. I'm looking past Trump. If you want to be president, you got to have the black vote. And you doing things like that, we ain't stupid. We ain't dumb. We ain't stupid, bruh. So the third thing is we have to, the third thing is, got carried away, man. Talking about trying to talk JD into keep him. Oh, blacks are Americans. We're not African Americans. We have to separate when moving forward in putting black people into office and exalting them up into higher places. As Republicans, we need to make sure if you're Republicans and you are not a racist and you can agree that black people have been mistreated and need to be treated with a different lens and be looked at a different lens than immigrants who have immigrated over here and tethered over here since, let's say, 1990s, 90 and 90, let's say since the Clintons. Since Haiti in the Clintons, let's just stop right there. Since then, let's say 1990s. If your family has just got here in the 90s, you should be treated different than your family has been here and born here, has lineage from the 1800s. It's just clear as day. Republicans, we can fix that. We can fix that. I think we can fix it. That's my time. It's been an hour already, man. And did I hope we can answer some of those questions? Does the R and Republican now stand for racist? Because our party has been hijacked by the white Christian nationalists or white supremacists. If you look, let me go in here and I want to show this. And we've got to get it back. We've got to get it back from them because we can all agree that it's not conducive to health. Look at that white Jesus in that top right corner. The white Jesus in the top right corner, or the top right corner right there. That's for symbolization. And having the guy who was with the rebel flag walking through the tundra of January 6th, that imagery. I mean, come on, as Republicans, does that not just burn your britches when you want to get that out of our party, decay that cancer of racism out of our party? Knowing that the Democrats with Birth of a Nation was the propaganda movie that they put up there in 1915 to whenever the blacks and the whites were getting along and we had equal representation per population in the House and the Senate. At that time, there was more black representation in the Senate and the House and the states and local government. Things were Fusion Party in Wilmington, West Virginia. Things were going in the right direction. And then here comes Birth of a Nation, riding in on the white horse, trying to protect the white supremacy race, and they put in the propaganda with Birth of a Nation. We've got to be smarter than that. We've got to be able to defeat that as a Republican Party. Democrats, I'm on your head next. I'm going to leave the politics alone because I'm going to get back into some fun stuff next week. Next week, not sure what I'm going to do, but I'll let you know before that hand of time. I know that hopefully we'll be back on with Hot Mike right after this show. On Tuesdays, usually it's Hot Mike is on usually Tuesdays and Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope we answered some of your questions. This is an all teachable moment. We're all learning from each other. I do this for educational purposes only. This is just my opinion. And if you have any questions, and if you want to get involved in the Winsel Whiskey gift card tasting for two, just comment Winsell Distillery in the comment section down here. Let me know you've been watching. You can watch now, watch later. You are watching On the 12 podcast. My name is Terrace Troy Horton, the most interesting man in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. The music spot. Oh, I can't forget. The music spotlight this week is on one of my close friends. Somebody I cared a lot about. His name's PZG, and he's got a song called Dope Boy Fresh.
Fat boy, pull your card. Fat boy, hit the yard. Fat boy.
And I got to tell you a little bit before I get into that track. I got to tell you, Peasy was one of the original members of Country Boy Entertainment. I got a comment. I didn't see a comment. Oh, Lisa said, I missed this. Oh, you can go back and you can watch it later, Lisa. No problem at all. You can watch it later. Good to see you, Lisa. But if PZG, he did 17 years. He got locked up for 17 years. Came out still repping CBE. He's one of the smartest, intelligent men I've ever met in my life. I think he runs his own businesses now. PZ is a man of his word, a man of honor. He is a 7-fold representer. If you know what I'm talking about, you know. If you know, you know. He's a 7-fold representer. 325 CBE dad till we die, right? You know what I'm saying? So let's we'll be back next week with more. We'll be back next week with more on the 12 podcast, and I'm going to leave you with the sounds of the music spotlight for this week. PZG.
17-6, locked up in that bitch. That boy never snitch. That boy never switch. Not that joke. No hip hop flow. Still a country boy, bro. That boy been on one. Plus I weigh a ton. That boy like pun. Like 8 pounds. Fat boy, big and small. I keep it fat boy fresh. Want more, not less.
What a show.
I strive not.
Let's go.
Bitch, I push and press. I bars no threat. What we doing?
I'm getting locked in now.
What we doing? Hang an action pack. That's boss said bet. Fat boy, baby, fat boy, big and small. Like 8 pounds. Fat boy, big and small. Fat boy, like fun. Fat boy, baby, like 8 pounds. That boy, baby, get your feet.
I'm locking in. This is my third show. My first show, I had Yerba Mate, Jeff Hatter on. Second show, I had Damon Lynch, the fourth on. He's a political candidate going for Congress in District 1 in Cincinnati, Ohio. And this episode has been specific politics. Does the R in Republicans stand for racist? You have been watching On the 12 podcast. My name is Terrace Troy Horton, the most interesting man in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, multi-talented DJ Fanny Pack, baby. And we're going to leave you with more of my homeboy PZG.
Fresh, want more, not less. I strive, not stress. Bitch, I push, yeah, press. Bars, no threat. Kentucky Wildcat, let's go. Cliffhanger, action pack. That's boss said bet. Next on the function, throw it all in punches. Bullets or punches. Breakfast and lunch. Dinner with dessert. Fat boy go berserk. Fat boy make it hurt. My fat boy will make it squirt. Plus I brought a snack.
He said I got some snacks.
36 to zip. Fat boy wild whip. That boy is supposed to crank. That boy squeeze the Mac. That boy got a stack. 50 grand back. Put it up. All these players jive. Jumping off sides. Keep the seat on your high. That boy gonna slide. That boy with the combo. Creed and Apollo. Boom docks like Rollo. I'm sick, dog Pablo. I keep it that boy fresh. Want more, not less. I strive, not stress. Bitch, I push and press. I bars no threat. Kentucky Wildcat. Still hang an action pack. That's boss said bet. That boy Boulevard. That boy pull your card. That boy hit the yard. That boy turn a squad. 17-6. Locked up in that bitch. That boy never snitch. That boy never switch. Not that joke. No hip hop flow. Still a country boy, ho. small, I keep the fat boy fresh. Want more, not less. I strive, not stress. Bitch, I push and press. I bars no threat. Kentucky Wildcat. Flip hanger action pack. That's boss said back.